Okay, children, in the last video we had discussed various aspects of image formation by curved mirrors, and we also developed some concept about the mirror formula. Now in this class we'll begin by applying mirror formula, which is the numerical part of image formation by curved surfaces or curved mirrors, and then we'll come to another important topic called reflection of light. So we'll be saying application of mirror formula, numericals on mirror formula. We'll recall mirror formula once. Mirror formula is 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. And the other formula which is studied is F is equal to R by 2. Magnification of that H dash by H is equal to minus V by U. While you use all these formulas, you have to make sure that you are using proper sign convention. Once again, we recall all the distances are measured from the pole. This point is called pole. Distance on the right will be positive. Distance on the left will be negative. Distance is above will be positive, and distance is below will be negative. So we keep all these sign conventions in mind when we discuss applications of the mirror formula. We will see some typical numericals on this, and then we will understand how we apply this formula. We will see a question on this, a typical question. A car has rear view mirror of radius of curvature 4 meter. It is used to see another car located at a distance 5 meter. Locate position of image. Very easy question. A car has a rear view, a mirror of radius of curvature 4 meter. It is used to see another car located at a distance 5 meter. Locate position of the image. Very easy question. Here nature of the mirror is not given. They can give you also in the exam, but here I have not given because it is part of the question. Actually, you have to understand that the rear view mirror which is used in a car or any vehicle is a convex mirror. So we will be writing the details which are given. I will be writing first given. What is given? This is a convex mirror. So you very well know its radius is on the right side is positive. R equals to how much is R? 4 meter plus 4 meter. So if it will be R by 2, 4 by 2 is equal to 2 meter. So we calculated how much is the focal length of the mirror, which is 2 meter. U is on the left, so it is always negative. U is given as 5 meter, so it will be minus 5. And I have to find how much is V, location of the image. So I will very easily dig it. I will be saying using 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to 1 by V. Remember, you should not put any sign convention for the quantity that you have to find. I want to calculate V, so I will not assume any sign for V. I will always take it positive. Whatever the sign of V, it will automatically come. We just insert the values out here. Let's put in the values. 1 by V plus how much is U? U is minus 5 is equal to 1 by F. How much is F, children? F is 2 meter. So we put the value as 2. Now we get 1 by v minus 1 by 5 is equal to 1 by 2. So 1 by v is equal to how much here? 1 by 5 plus 1 by 2. Take the LCM 2 plus 5. So that's 7 by 10. 1 by v is 7 by 10. So how much still in v? V is 7 by 10 by 7 meter. Or v is equal to 1 is to 3 by 7. So this is the location of the image where the image will come. Now v is positive, you can see. That means the image is coming on the other side here, positive, when the object is on the left. They can ask you, what is nature of the image? So we know the nature to be virtual. We can easily calculate nature. If they ask what is magnification, which is not said in the question, but if they ask to calculate magnification, magnification is minus v by u minus v is 10 by 7 and v is how much? Minus 5. So 2 to 2 by 7. We can see magnification is positive. In magnification is positive, then also you will conclude the image is virtual. Now 2 by 5 is less than 1. So the image is diminished. So we can make all these conclusions by looking at the results that we get. Right? It was a simple problem that we did. Now let's see another question. We'll see another question. An object of length 4 centimeter is placed in front of a concave mirror. Concave mirror having radius of curvature 40 centimeter. Now, if distance of the object from the mirror is 30 centimeter, find number 1 location of the image, number 2 size of the image, and number 3 nature of the image. Children, when you're taking numerical in physics, we should try to visualize the problem. They're saying a concave mirror. So we can try to visualize the problem. This is the concave mirror. Object is here. This is U. U is given to us 30 centimeters. This is U. Focal length of concave mirror, is always negative. Because the radius of curvature is where on the left. So if we are writing here first, what is given? What all is given? We are writing. Radius is 40 centimeter. So it is negative. Minus 40 centimeter. U is given as minus 30 centimeter. F will be R by 2 minus 40 by 2 minus 20 centimeter. So we got how much the focal length. Radius and curvature is already given to us. I got how much is U. What I need to calculate? I need to calculate V. I need to calculate size and given H dash, and H is given as 4 centimeter. So These two things have to calculate, and all these things are given to us. I'm visualizing that this is the mirror and this is the object. I need to visualize by drawing a rough diagram of sketch so I have a clear idea what is given and what I have to find out. Now the problem is very simple. I'll be using first answer using 1 by v plus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. We'll insert all these values which are given to us. V I need to find out. And I started the trick. If you have to find out V or U, whatever you have to find out, don't put any sign convention for the quantity that you want to find out. 1 by U plus, how much is U? U is minus 20. How much is F? Minus 20. I'm solving for V, so I take this term on the right hand side. So 1 by V is equal to minus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 30. Take LCM. LCM is how much? 60. Minus 3 plus 2 minus 1 by 60. So V will be how much here? Minus 60 centimeter. So I got how much is V? V is minus 60 centimeter. I found the first answer. Location of the image. So I will say that V will be minus 60 centimeter. It will be on the left. Meaning, if this is the mirror, if this is the object, V is where? On the left. It will be behind the object. This is 30. So image will be somewhere here. At what distance? 60 centimeter. Now they say, what is size of the image? So for calculating size of the image, magnification formula will be used, which will be taught. M is equal to h dash by h is equal to minus d by minus u. Minus v by u. You put value, put later on. H dash. Now h. Remember, the object is upright always. So h will be always positive. And h is given as how much? 4 centimeter. So h by 4. We have already got how much? Minus 60. So minus 60 and u is minus 30. How much is u, children? U is minus 30. Now minus 6 plus again minus. So it becomes how much? Minus 2. So h dash will be minus 2 4 8 centimeter. H dash is how much? Minus 8 centimeter. Meaning the image will be, if the object is 4, the image is how much? Minus 8 means it is downwards. It is inverted. It is inverted and magnified. Third, nature of the image. We can clearly see nature of the image is real, inverted and magnified. So they will give simple problems like this in the exam, and you should be able to use this mirror formula very easily. Now there is another type also that we get, very simple one. Well children, radius of curvature is given and you have to find the focal length. So if you have been to the radius of curvature, f will be equal to r by 2. Use the proper sign convention. For example, suppose I ask you a mirror has radius of curvature 60 centimeter, and then it says find its focal length if number 1 it is convex mirror and number 2 it is concave mirror. Now this is a very simple question, but you have to make sure where it can go wrong here is in the sign convention. Case 1. Case 1, it's a convex mirror, and in case of convex mirror, radius is taken as positive. So radius of curvature is how many centimeters? 60. So I will take this as plus 60 centimeter, and if it will be r by 2, 60 by 2 is equal to 30 centimeter. It's very important for you to remember the sign convention. You make a mistake, your marks will be deducted. Case 2, it's a concave mirror. It is a concave mirror, so you can clearly see here. This is convex mirror. This radius of curvature is where on the right, so it is positive. Concave mirror, its radius of curvature is where on the left, so you are negative. All these things have been taught to you already. Here r is equal to minus 60, and f is equal to r by 2, which is minus 60 by 2, minus 20 centimeters. So this sign convention is important, and then you have to use it as it is given. So these are the types that you get in the exams. Now we're going to start with another important topic called refraction of light. You have very little of refraction of light in class 10. You will be studying this topic again on an extended scale in a chapter called ray optics in class 12. So let's start with refraction of light. Refraction of light. We'll understand what is refraction of light. You see, you know what is a transparent medium? A transparent medium is a medium through which light can pass. Now, when a light ray travels from one medium to another medium, when I am saying medium, I am talking about a transparent medium, alright? Not an opaque medium. I am talking about transparent medium. Let's see here. This is medium 1 and this is medium 2. For example, we can have air out here, and here we can have water. We can have glass. We can have anything. Medium 1 and medium 2. For example, air and water. Why I am saying air? Because generally we see light always in air. Light is traveling from medium 1 to medium 2. But you don't have to understand, it's always air and water. Only for example, I may rub it also. Now when light ray is traveling from medium 1 to medium 2, this line which you are seeing above is medium 1, below is medium 2, is called interface. What do you call it? Interface. Now let's understand. Light is traveling from medium 1 to medium 2 like this. A light ray comes and strikes here like this. This is called incident ray. Now this light is coming striking here. So this is called point of incidence. What do you call this point? Point of incidence. I denote it by P. When and at this point I draw a normal or a perpendicular. This perpendicular which you see is called normal at the point of incidence. Every time I want to study refraction, wherever the ray will strike, I draw a perpendicular and I will call it normal at the point of incidence. Now, as the ray is traveling from medium 1 to medium 2, we find that its speed changes. Its speed, what happens? Speed changes. And as the speed changes, you see, initially the ray is coming like this. You already know a very important property of light. The light travels in a straight line, and it is because of this property that light casts shadows. Shadows are cast by light when the light travels in a straight line. This is how the light is traveling. But as the light is going from one medium to another, its speed is what? Changing. If its speed is changing, then the light cannot come along the dotted line. Two things may happen. Either it will bend towards the normal, it will bend towards the normal, or it will bend away from the normal. same time. Either it will bend towards the normal or it will bend away from the normal. One of this will happen. But one thing is certain, as the light will go from medium 1 to medium 2, it will not move along the same path. Its path will change. And why it will change? Because its speed is going to change. So let's separately study what all can happen. First thing that can happen is, this is the normal. The light will bend towards the normal. Number one. The other situation is that light will bend away from the normal. One of these will happen. This phenomenon is what we call as reflection of light. So what is reflection of light, children? Bending of light as it travels from one medium to another is called reflection of light. Or you can define like this: as light travels from one medium to another, it deviates from its original path. This is called reflection of light. Now, there are two things that can happen. Remember, this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. The ray will bend towards the normal first, second, the ray will bend away from the normal, right? The first ray which is coming in medium 1 is called incident ray. Which ray we call this? I will write it here. Incident ray. The other ray which is in medium 2 is called refracted ray. I will call this ray 1, I will call this ray 2. Now, angle made by the incident ray with the normal, this is called angle of incidence. I is called what angle? Angle of incidence. R, this angle which you see, this angle R is called angle of refraction. So, there are certain key terms that we learned here. In reflection, key terms. First one is incident ray. Ray 1 in medium 1, like this ray 1 is incident ray. This ray 1 is also incident ray. Number 2, refracted ray. So this ray 2, this is ray 2. These are reflected rays. Third one is normal at the point of incidence. Point of incidence. So these three terms, normal meaning the perpendicular which is drawing at the point of incidence is called normal at the point of incidence. Now, two more terms here mentioned. Fourth term is angle of incidence. I. And number 5, angle of refraction, denoted by R. 5 key terms: incident ray, reflected ray, normal at the point of incidence, and then angle of incidence I and angle of reflection R. Now, we will be seeing some practical examples of refraction of light. In fact, children, we come across so many examples on day-to-day life which make us encounter the phenomenon of refraction. For example, bending of stick. Bending of stick. This simple activity you can carry out at home also. You take a container, like a glass container, take a tumbler for example, fill it with water. If you don't have a tumbler at home, you can simply go to a place where there is water and you can take a stick. This is a stick here. Put a stick inside water like this. you'll find that stick which is straight, in fact the part which is inside water will be wet. This is the real stick. But you'll find in what? Stick is wet. This is actually what you see when you observe from here. So this phenomenon is being caused because the rays traveling from air to water. Water is a denser medium and the rays moving towards the north. Let's see more example. You take a beaker, fill it with water. Now this is very important example. Put a coin here. When you observe it, when you see from here, you find that the coin is not here at position P. It is at position P dash. You will not be able to see P. You will be able to see P dash. You will find that it has been what? Elevated. This is an important concept. We call it apparent depth. Apparent depth. When you see a swimming pool with a clear bottom, when you see it from an angle, not like this, but like this at an angle, you will find that the swimming pool will appear to be less deep. You will find the bottom is being raised. This is the phenomenon, apparent depth. Then you have twinkling of stars. When you look at the sky, clear sky, you find the stars are twinkling. What is happening? A star is here. The light which is coming, you are watching from here. This is atmosphere. At every point, the light coming from the star is getting refracted. When you watch it from here, sometimes you find it is focusing out here, sometimes you find it is focusing here. It is also being caused by what? Bending of light, which is refraction. So all these phenomena that we come across are caused because of reflection of light. Now, once you understood these examples, we'll be discussing angle of deviation. Means I want to understand in which case the light will bend towards the normal, in which case it is bending away from the normal. Like let's see here. This is the incident ray and this is refracted ray. This is ray 1, ray 2, angle of incidence, angle of refraction. Here the ray is bending towards. Now, here ray is bending away. This is I, this is I. Children, when I look at this diagram, when I find that I is more than R. When I look at this diagram, I find that R is more than I. In both the cases, the ray is bending, but first ray is bending towards the normal, second is bending away from the normal. I want you to understand. A ray will bend towards the normal when the ray is coming from denser to rarer medium. Keep in mind, rarer to denser medium. When the light is traveling from rarer to denser, it will be bending towards the normal. Now, why it is happening? Because as the light travels from rarer to denser medium, rarer to denser means density of optical density of this medium is more than optical density of this medium. You can understand the physical density, mass by volume also. This medium is more dense, more heavy compared to this medium. This will also be enough to understand light medium, heavy medium. You can understand like this for the time being. When we turn from light medium to heavy medium or rarer to denser, it will bend towards the normal. And I will be more than R. Now, why it so happens? Like I told you, when the light will turn from light to a heavy medium, rarer to denser medium, its speed will decrease. Speed will decrease, so it will bend towards the normal. In this case, you can see it's bending away from the normal. So whenever it's bending away from the normal, that means going from denser to rarer. Denser to rarer. So if it is denser to rarer, heavy medium to light medium will bend away from the normal, the rarer to denser will bend towards the normal. So whenever you construct images, you should be very careful about this. And children, there is another term that you should understand. What is angle of deviation? Angle of deviation, its symbol is d or delta. When a ray is traveling from one medium to another, it is deviating from its path. So by what angle it is deviating is called angle of deviation. Let's see here. This is how the ray was traveling, and this is how it is going. So this is precisely the angle by which it is deviating. If I use single geometry, then angle of deviation delta here is how much? I minus r. I minus r. You can very well understand that I will be equal to how much? I will be equal to delta plus r, vertically opposite angles. Delta is equal to I minus r. So you can just remember here that angle of deviation is I minus r. Suppose I is 60 degree and r is how much? 45 degree. What will be delta? 60 minus 45, which is how much? 15. When the ray has deviated by 15 degrees. In this case, you can see the ray was traveling like this. Right? And this is the angle of refraction. Now you can construct, this is I, so this is how much? I, vertically opposite angles. Now, this is the angle of deviation. So angular deviation in this case, delta will be r minus I. Angle of deviation will be r minus I, r is more than I. Same way we can relate out. So you have to bear in mind, the delta will be I minus r when I is more than r, and r minus I when r is more than I. So I will be writing it here. Delta will be equal to I minus r when I will be more than r, and delta will be I r minus I when r will be greater than I. So you can remember this. Mathematically, we can combine these two into single statement. Delta is equal to modulus of I minus r. This is only for information. In class 10 standard, you don't have to know like this. Name like this will be enough. Okay, children. So we understood the refraction of light is bending of light as it travels from one medium to another. Now during refraction, what all changes? First thing that changes is the speed of light. Right? What changes? Changes are speed of light and frequency of light. But remember, what does not change frequency and wavelength. And wavelength. Speed changes and wavelength changes. And what does not change? Frequency of light does not change. Now this will be discussed in the senior classes, but just keep in mind, velocity is required in class 10. These two things are not required. Just keep in mind that speed changes, wavelength of light changes, but frequency does not change. Speed of light changes. We will get numericals on this. We will discuss it. So by now you have understood what is reflection of light. Now children, reflection is a very well defined process. It's a very well defined process, and every process that we see around us is a scientific process, and every scientific process is defined by a certain set of rules. So we have laws of refraction. Let's study laws of diffraction. Laws of refraction. Let's go back to the refraction once again. The diagram. This is medium 1. This is medium 2. This is normal. This is incident ray. This is refracted ray. This is angle of incidence. And this angle of refraction. I'm sure you all understanding now. Angle of incidence, angle of refraction, medium 1, medium 2, incident ray and refracted. There are two laws of diffraction. The first law is law 1. The incident ray, the reflected ray, and normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. The incident ray, the reflected ray, the normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. Let's understand this. The incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal, they lie in the same plane. For this, no proof is required because you can clearly see by construction only this ray, the normal, and the reflected ray, they are on the same plane as the board on which I am writing. So, this is evident from this. The incident ray, the reflected ray, and normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. This is law 1. Now the second law is important. Law 2 is also called Snell's law. Snell's law. Now what is Snell's law? Snell's law says the ratio of sine of angle of incidence and sine of angle of refraction is constant. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence and sine of angle of refraction is constant, and it is known as refractive index, in short we will write it RI, refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. Snell's law, the second law, says ratio of sine of angle of incidence and ratio of sine of angle of incidence and sine of angle of refraction is constant, and it is known as refractive index historical Ri of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. You can pause the video and get out of the definition. That means sine I, sine of angle of incidence, meaning sine of I, angle of incidence is what? I divided by sine of R equals to n to 1 or mu to 1. Now this n I can use mu, but in class 10 you can use just n to 1, right? This ratio is constant, and how we write n to 1. Now let's say what is n to 1? N to 1, I write in a box. N21 how will you read? Is equal to refractive medium 2 with respect to medium 1. Now what is medium 2? Medium 2 is the medium into which the ray is going, and medium 1 is the medium from which the ray is coming. Let's see. Suppose medium 1 is water, W. We will be writing W for water. Medium 2 is glass. We will be writing G. Then children, sin I divided by sin R will be N2. 2 means glass with respect to 1. That is W. Now we will read. We will be reading refractive index of glass with respect to water. Here Ri of glass with respect to WA. Easy. Suppose children, medium 1 is, suppose oil, medium 2 is water. Suppose oil I am writing O, water I am writing W. Then sin I by sin R is equal to N of 2. What is 2? Water respect to oil. Clear? So if medium 1 and medium 2 are given, we can easily find the refractive index by inserting the right values of I and R. Okay. Now when we started the discussion on reflection of light, then we spoke about an important phenomenon that is taking place. That is, we said that reflection takes place because the speed of light changes. So we try to establish a relation between speed of light as it is traveling from medium 1 to medium 2 and refractive index. There is a very clear relation, and you will understand this properly because we get numericals on this. Relation between speed and RI. RI means refractive index. Remember children, refractive index of medium 2 with respect to 1 is equal to V1 by V2. And what is V1? Speed of light in medium 1 divided by speed of light in medium 2. This is N21. Very important formula. We'll get some on this. Suppose speed of light in medium 1, V1 is 3 into 10 to the power 8. And speed of light in medium 2 is 1.5 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Suppose, and they ask you calculate refractive index of medium 2 with respect to 1, then what will you write? N21 is equal to V1 by V2, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by 1.5 10 to the power 8. Cancel out. Refractive index is 2. Into 1 is 2. Right? So, for numericals, N21 is write this in a box. You should also write this in a box because these are important formulas, and generally important formulas are written in a box so that you can directly access these formulas for numericals. Now, if you work a little bit on this, we can develop another formula. You can take down the notes on the board. This will be very effective. medium 2 is equal to speed of light in medium 1 divided by refractive index, or we can also say like this: V2 is equal to V1 by N21. So this is another formula which is very handy when you are doing sums. Okay, children, we saw the relation between refractive index of a medium and speed of light as it is going from medium 1 to medium 2. Now we will understand a new term called absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index. We said sin I by sin R is equal to n to 1. Refractive index of 2 with respect to 1. Generally, all the refractive indices are calculated with respect to air. So if 1 is air will be written as A, and 2 is any given medium. A given medium could be water, it could be glass, it could be oil, it could be glycerin, anything. Will be written as what? N. Then n to 1 will be refractive index of medium M with respect to air. And if it is air, I don't have to state this medium. I can say N M, meaning refractive index of medium, a medium with respect to air. So for example, look at this situation. This is medium 1 and this is medium 2. One is air and this medium 2 is water. Then NM will be N for water. We just writing what? N for W. Suppose M is glass, then Nm will be N glass. Glass is written as Mg. So refractive index of a medium with respect to air is called absolute refractive index. So let's define it. Refractive index with respect to air is called absolute refractive index. So every time I say refractive index of a medium is this much, so that will be a refractive index of the medium with respect to air, or absolute refractive index. For example, suppose I say refractive index of glass is 1.5. That's with respect to air, because the other medium is not stated. Refractive index of water is 1.4. So this is absolute refractive index of water with respect to air. So bear all these things in mind. Now we will be saying, if refractive index of medium is given, then how do we calculate the speed in that particular medium, or what is the relation between absolute refractive index and speed of light? Let's see here. Nm is equal to refractive index of medium is equal to speed of light in air divided by speed of light in the given medium. Speed of light in air is generally denoted by c. Speed of light in medium written as v. So this one formula number. We can get another formula. Speed of light in a given medium is equal to speed of light in air divided by refractive index of the medium, Nm, or V is equal to C by N. These are the formula. So this is important, and you can always use this for the method problems. In the board exams, you get sums on this, so make sure you are able to use it. We will be seeing two typical examples of how to use these two formulas which you learned about absolute refractive index. Speed of light in air is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. On passing into a medium, its speed becomes 2 into 10 power 8 meter per second. What is refractive index of the medium? Very simple question. Now what is given? Let's see answer. Given is speed of light in air, and what is symbol change? C. C is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Then we have speed of light in the medium, V equals to 2 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Therefore, refractive index, remember every time Ri is written, you will need this refractive index of the medium. Nm equals to C by V. Speed in air divided by speed in a given medium, 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 divided by V. Cancel out 1.5. Refractive index is 1.5. And remember very well, very important thing, that refractive index in dimension, it has no unit. Refractive index has no dimension or no unit. It's a pure number. Okay? It has no unit. So you just write the number. And minimum refractive index is 1. That's for air. And about the highest refractive index is for diamond, which is around 2.7. So Now we'll see another problem. Speed of light in air is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. What will be speed in a medium having refractive index 2.5? Very easy. Given speed of light in the air, c is equal to 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Refractive index of the medium Nm equals to 2.5. And what we need to calculate? Speed in the medium V. So I will directly use the formula using V is equal to C by Nw. This formula Nm. It is already been explained to you. C is 3 into 10 power 8 and refractive index is 2.5. So divide is 1.2. 1.2 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So you can easily calculate. Speed of light in the given medium is 1.2 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So you can see very well that as the refractive index is increasing, the medium is becoming more dense and the speed is becoming less. Like I told in the beginning of the lecture, as you travel from a rarer to a denser medium, the speed goes on decreasing. Alright children, now we are discussing refraction of light through a glass slab. We have this experiment in the lab also. We will be doing. Refraction of light through a glass slab. Here we have a glass slab. Remember, above and below medium is same. Generally we will assume that it is air because we will be keeping the glass slab in what? Air. Now we take an incident ray. This ray is incident. Not necessarily that you take from right side, you take from left side also. Either way you take. This is air and this is glass. At this point of the incident, children, we draw a normal. Because normal is important. We have to calculate what is the angle of incidence, what the angle of refraction. This ray is traveling from a rarer to a denser medium. Then you know that this ray is bending towards normal. Let's make this angle a little bit large angle. It will be easy to trace. Now this ray is bending towards normal. You can see that this is angle of incidence. This angle of this dotted line is normal. This angle of reflection R. And show it here. Now this ray is striking here and getting refracted, bending towards the normal. Now the medium is above, medium above and below the glass slab is what? Same. Now this is interface 1 and this is interface 2. See, this is interface between air and glass. Now this is interface between glass and air. Here also we draw a normal. Now the important point for you to remember is, as the medium above and below is the same, then the emergent ray will be parallel to the incident ray. So we will be drawing how the incident ray was traveling. This is how the incident ray is traveling. So the emergent ray is parallel to this ray. We will like this. Keep in mind, this ray is parallel to this ray. We call OA as the incident ray, AB as the reflected ray, and BC as the emergent ray. Which ray? Emergent ray. It is finally emerging. When you do this construction in the exam, make sure that BC is parallel to the incident ray. This angle is R. So this angle will be also how much? R. Will be alternate angles. This angle is I. So this angle will be also I. Because these two rays are parallel to each other, will be corresponding angles. So you know R, R, I, I. The emergent ray is parallel to the incident ray. I am writing all this. OA is incident ray. AB is refracted ray, and BC is emergent ray. And when you construct this diagram, make sure that BC is parallel to OA, because median will be very C. There is another term that we use. This angle which you see, this angle of deviation. This angle of deviation G. I'll mark it this side. It will be easy for me to. This is that. From here to drop a perpendicular. Suppose this perpendicular is BD. This angle is 90. You see, actually, initially the ray was coming like this, but finally the ray has come out like this. Because of refraction, the ray has actually what? Missed its original path by this length. So this length which you see here, this is already G, so I will mark this with E. This angle of deviation. So this path P, which is actually the perpendicular distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray, this one is denoted by X, and we call it lateral displacement. It's called what? Lateral displacement. D is here, angle of deviation, and B is called lateral displacement. So what is this new term for you? Lateral displacement. So lateral displacement is the perpendicular distance between what? Emergent ray and the incident ray. The distance, the shortest distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray is called lateral displacement. So children, in this lecture, in this video actually we discussed refraction and various aspects of refraction, simple numericals involving relation with the refractive index of a medium and changing speeds that you should go through. That is what's going to come in the exam. In the next video, I will be discussing refraction through spherical mirrors, spherical lenses, mirrors and refraction through spherical lenses, and then there is a numerical application as well. Thank you.